Welcome, everyone, to Discover the Depths of Your Logos Library. If I've not met you before, my name is Kim Harris, and I'm a Stevens minister and women's Bible study leader at my local church, and I use Logos to help me do so. I am also on the learning specialist team here at Logos, and at Logos, our company's vision is to increase biblical literacy and accessibility to every Christian around the world. Here on the learning team, our role is to help you, our customer, better understand and utilize the tools and resources in Logos. And I'm sure you will agree with me that Logos has plenty of tools and resources. So, welcome and thank you for joining me. I see we have a handful of folks here. I'd love to know your name and where you're from, and also maybe answer the question, how long have you been a Logos user? While you answer those questions, I'm going to go over this session's agenda and a few housekeeping issues. So today I'm going to show you how to navigate the Logos library. I'll also show you how to sort resources in your library, how to search resources, and how to create a filter and for a collection of resources, likening it to books on an electronic bookshelf. And I'll also show you how to create a reading plan if you want to read a book in Logos and you want accountability for that reading. A few things about this session. I'll teach for approximately 30 to 40 minutes. And then at the end of my teaching time, I'll answer any questions you have about the materials covered. I also, if you notice at the top of the chat, you're introducing yourselves in the chat. Thank you for doing so. Next to the chat, you'll see a Q&A column. That's where I want you to put your questions, should you have any. You'll also notice that there is a handout column. In that column, I've uploaded a document called Search Operators. For those of you who still have the licensed version of Logos that is not subscription, you can use search operators in your library to filter through the resources and navigate to resources that you are trying to acquire or get to for your research. But if you have the subscription version of Logos, and both customers are welcome, both subscription and licensed version. You don't need subscription for this session. If you have subscription, I'll do a quick demo on searching with Smart Search, where you don't need any search syntax, and you can ask questions of your library resources similar to a Google search. So we'll do some searching. Next few points, feel free to watch and learn. This session is being recorded, and you'll be emailed a copy of the recording a couple of hours after the session ends. And last but not least is our customer success survey. Here on the training team, we love to hear from you, letting us know how these sessions are benefiting you. It is our only way to hear from you. And I also love to connect with you and let's see your ideas for future sessions, and just read your feedback. So if you have to leave early, you'll receive a prompt asking you for your feedback. If you're able to stay the entire time, I will leave some time for us to fill out that 30-second survey together at the end of this session before Q&A, and I would love for each and every one of you to do so. So it looks like we have a good group of folks here. Todd, Logos user for a year. David, 17 years. Dwayne, 3. Rob, 1.5. Eric, a few months. Okay, welcome. Rick from Ontario, 10 years. Kurt, 10 years. Alice, 20 years. Will, since 2009. Lots of experienced Logos users here. Julie, 4 years. Larry, 1 year. Jim, migrating from Accordance. Okay, welcome. Lenny, 12 years, and Robbie, 15 plus years. Well, I'm honored that a lot of you longtime Logos users have decided to join me here to learn how to use your library. I do want to share, however, that this webinar is introductory level. So if you are a very experienced Logos user, And this is too basic for you. I will not be offended if you decide to sign off, but this is a beginner's level webinar. So I do want to manage those expectations for some of you longtime users. Okay, well, let's dive in. I am on the desktop version of Logos. As some of you longtime users will know, Logos has 3 different platforms. It has the web app where you use Logos on the web at app.logos.com. The mobile app where you can download Logos software onto your smartphone or tablet. And then we have the desktop version where you download the software onto your desktop and you can sign in with your credentials and use Logos. I teach from the highest tier of Logos, which is Logos Max, and I'm on a Mac computer. So if I share commands, I'll share for both PC and Mac. And I also want to let you know, in the way of my library, I have the 2025 Collectors Library and the L10 Collectors Library. I mention that because that gives me 13,000 resources, over 13,000 resources in my library. You may have more, you may have less. The point being is, when you have a well-stocked Logos library, it enables you to deepen your research and studies. So if you are curious and wanting to explore more collections and resources to add to your library, I've pinned some information to the top of the chat. It is the phone number to the Logos library specialist where you can contact them about adding collections and bolstering up your library to deepen your study. Pinned to the top of the chat is also my email and my webinar page. If you like my teaching style, feel free to visit that page and sign up for more of my sessions. And if you think of questions after this session, feel free to email me, kim.harris@logos.com. All right, so here we are on the dashboard, and I am going to navigate to my library. If you are a point and clicker, the navigation menu on the left-hand side, the library is the third icon down from the top left. It is 3 books. 1 book is leaned against the other 2. If you are a keystroke person, you can get into your library on a PC by selecting Control L as in library on a PC. I'm on a Mac. Mac users select Command L. So I'm going to do Command L and bring this over to my teaching screen. Now, before we dive into some resources, I am going to give you a tour around the library so that you know what all the icons mean. Top right-hand corner is the panel menu. That is on every Logos panel. That is where you can undo and redo commands that you've given. Open up the information side panel. We'll be doing that next. This is where you prioritize your books. If you have not prioritized your books, I teach about that in another webinar that I teach. Visit my webinar page for that webinar. You can print the books listed on your screen here or export your library resources to a Word document or PDF file. Full screen, duplicate panel, and dock this panel, which we are already docked. Copying this location, you can send a link to another Logos user to share your page that you're on, and close Logos here. Next to that panel menu is the eye with a circle on it. That toggles on our information side panel. When you have a book selected, it will center the resources and the information about that book, like the title, the author, whether or not it's downloaded to your device, a small paragraph about the book. And if you are reading it, I have tagged this read later. So that is a book that I am reading here in this demo account. You can start a reading plan here and do all sorts of fun things. Create you can add tags to it and label it like with stars 1 through 4, by adding stars here to the books to let other Logos users know whether or not you appreciate that resource. That's the information side panel, and so that centers a book. I'm going to toggle that off by selecting it again. The next icon is the display icon. You click the down arrow, and you have 3 different choices of your display. And this is all personal preference. Right now, I have it in details view. This allows me to put a little bit of information about the book. There's tile view, where you can just list the book picture, the title, author, and stars, a little bit less information. And then minimal information is the cover view, where you just have a picture of the cover with the author. If you hover over the book, you get the title and the author. Now, in this details view, you can select the details of information you want on your screen by right-clicking on any column header. And you can see all the different options of the book information you can have on your screen. The things that I have checked are on my screen. So, for example, I have the image, that's here. The type of book right here, study guide, commentary. The title of the book is here, the author. We have the rating here selected, publisher, and then at the bottom, if I scroll over with the slider, I can see that I have the series. Now you can customize that detailed view. You can deselect any of these. So let's say, for example, I want to remove the image. Right click on any column header. I have image selected. If I select it again, it deselects it. So now the tiny image of the book has been removed. And so this is the screen, the detailed view, for you to be able to customize how much or how little information you want. And the other views have less information. I'm going to add my image back, and you can see that there. Here in our library, this is the add to the library. This takes you to the bookstore where you can purchase books that are not in your library online. Logos has about 300,000 resources in its library. So there's 273,000 available for me to add if I choose. And you can sort through these resources with this filter column here. Moving over one to the left, this is the books that are in my library, the 13,622 that I can open up and read and take notes from if I'm working on a project or research or a sermon. These are the books that I own in this library. We have a find box here. This is where you can type in the subject, the author title. It's another way to sort and filter your information. We'll be visiting the filter column here, but you can also type in an author. Say if I wanted to type in the word hope. This will sort my books to anything about hope, whether it's in the title, whether it's the author's name, or anything that has hope in a particular book. And you can see that my resources have been filtered down from over 13,000 to 890. I'm going to click this X and clear that. Back to all of my resources. This hamburger icon toggles on and off my information, my filter side panel here. So to make my screen larger, I click it. To get the filter panel back, I click it again. And I would encourage you, when you get this webinar video, to explore all the different types of books in your library. You can expand any arrow next to the filter type and see what types of books are in that category. Under the types of books, which is the same column here, I have monographs, commentaries, journals. The number next to the type is the number of those resources you have in your library. So I have 3,483 commentaries. which is a lot of commentaries. You can also sub-filter. So if I scroll down and I see language, I can sub-filter to my English books. And let's go down to commentary. Commentaries in English, 3471. So you can see I have 2 filters here. I can remove any of the filters in this breadcrumb area by clicking the X and getting back to all of my resources. So this is how you filter by type. These are fact book reports and books that provide information on subjects such as belief system, Bibles, counseling resources. We have other, and anything that has a caret next to it, you can expand it. So under other, there's Christian life, Christian archaeology. And again, the number next to that resource is the number of books in that category. You can filter by subject, New Testament, Old Testament, Bible, simply Bible books, theology, books on Christ, theology, doctrinal, Dead Sea Scrolls, and the like. You can sort by ratings. My ratings, if I've created ratings on that side information panel I showed you, and Logos community ratings, books sorted 5 stars by the Logos community that are in my library, 4 stars and 3 and 2 and etc. You can sort by language. And you can see here I have Hebrew books in my library, Greek books, Aramaic, Spanish, different languages, different languages of books. You can filter by author or creating collections. We'll do that shortly in this session. Publisher, license, print library, all different ways to sort through our information. So now that we've done a quick orientation of the library, one more thing I want to show you before we move on to searching is you can sort any of these categories by clicking on the title header. So let's say I want to sort my books by title. On the screen, naturally, it's numerical order and then A to Z. If I click on the title header, it's numerical A to Z. I click again. It starts with my non-English books at the top, followed by Z to A, and then the numerical books. If I click it again, it goes back to the original sorting, which is numerical alpha A to Z. I can sort by author. So here I click, and then I have books here, 279 that don't have an author's name. It might be a book by a publisher in that category. And then I have A to Z, and then the non-English books. If I click again, my non-English book here at the bottom or at the top, followed by Z to A, and then books with numbers in the titles. So back to author again, my original screen. So that's how we sort using the column headers. Now, before we start searching in our library, let's do a quick side search thing, because when we're in our library, we have to use search syntax, which is the handout I gave you, and I'll show you that shortly. I just wanted to show you, for those of you, let me know in the chat or with an emoji if you have subscription. Like I said, you don't have to have subscription to participate, but for those of you that do, you can now search your books and resources without having to use search syntax by simply using a natural question. Here on the dashboard, okay, Rick's got subscription, okay, a couple of folks. Here on the dashboard, you can search your Bible with AI Smart Search, which you can tell you're using with that AI Sparkle, or you can search everything to include not only the books that you own, but everything in the Logos category. And you can also find these options here under search menu with a few more options. You can now use AI Smart Search to search your Bible. So that is, I believe, was available in version 40 of Logos. You can ask a natural question to search information in your Bible. So let's say we're doing an all search, and I say something like, What does heaven look like? And you can do any search. And I'm doing an all search. So if I were to do books, that would search just the books that I own. When I do an all search, that searches not only the books that I own, but also the books in the Logos catalog, there's 300,000 books in the Logos catalog. So now I'm expanding my research and I'm giving myself the ability to see if there's additional books that I don't own that I may want to purchase, particularly if I'm working on a sermon or I'm researching something and I want to expand my search beyond the books that I have. If you wanted to just search your books, you would simply move from this all category over to your books category. But what's nice about the Smart Search is when you ask a question, you get a synopsis or a summary to the answer to your question based on articles that it's searched in the Logos catalog. So you can see here, according to the articles provided, heaven is described as a perfect place where people live happily with God forever. It is portrayed as a vast city, as tall as it is wide, with ample space for all inhabitants. So, pretty cool question. You can ask anything you like down below, or the books that were cited or sourced for this answer. And then you can scroll down to look for all the books that have touch on that subject. What does heaven look like? If you see a lock symbol, that's a book that's in the Logos catalog, but not in your library. Because as I said, when you have Logos, there's a certain amount of books that come with your license or your subscription. And when you purchase more, that adds to your library, that deepens your study. The resources that are locked, I don't own. I can summarize them and see if I want to purchase it and add it to my library by looking at the answer to the question. Anything that does not have a lock on it, like this resource here, this is in my library because there's no lock here. And I can summarize that resource and see if I want to open it up. If I'm doing a paper or writing a sermon, I can open it by clicking on that book. It'll open it up in another tab. So I wanted to do a side demonstration for you to show you that Smart Search allows you to ask questions, natural questions, and not use search syntax like we do in our library. So back to our library, let me show you, for those of you that do not have subscription, how to use search syntax to pare down these resources. So let's say we want to see what books we have in our library about Jesus, and we want to see if put Jesus's name in the title for our books. Search syntax for that would be title, colon, and again, that handout that I have in the columns is there for you with this search syntax, title, colon, Jesus. So I have 404 books in my library. Yours may look different depending on what's in your library, but I have 404 books in my library that have Jesus in the title. And if I hover over them, let's see here, we can see 2 Corinthians, the power of Jesus, the acts of the risen Lord Jesus. Everything with Jesus in my library will come up. So I've pared down my library from over 13,000 resources to 404. You can also search your library by book type. So search syntax would be type. Let's say we want to see what devotionals we have. Type colon devotional, no space there. I have 69 devotionals in my library. So here they are listed. And you can simply right click on it and open it up and start to read and see what each devotional is about. See if you want to save it, start a reading plan with it. And I can also put combining phrases in my search syntax. So let's say I want to find the books in my library that say Jesus Christ, not just Jesus and not just Christ. So I can do title colon Jesus, capital A-N-D, title colon Christ. Now, when I first did Jesus and we searched, it was 404, a lot more. But now that I'm doing, it has to have Jesus and Christ in the title. I only have 88 results there. And again, if you hover over the title, you can see that each title, let's see if we can find that. Each title has Jesus and Christ in there. Maybe if I hover over the book, I can get that title to pop up for me. Well, I know what I can do. I can go to my information sidebar, click on that title. Well, it opened it up. Advent, the once and future coming of Jesus Christ. So we can see there that we have our search syntax has been met. And then there's that book there, Everything with Jesus Christ. So that's using search syntax. You can do title, you can do subject and your search syntax. And if, let's say, you're researching something and you want to gather together books of a certain subject and have them assembled in a collection, that involves creating a collection. And so right now, let's see if we want to gather all of our books on Jesus Christ. So now we have them all searched. We're going to go to our side information panel that we visited during our tour. And we are going to select, well, let's see, there's 88 of these. It's kind of a lot to select. Let's select half of them. So I got this first book selected. I'm going to go down. I'm going to hit the Shift key and select everything that's on my screen. Now on the right-hand side, this information side panel that I turned on, I'm going to scroll down and I have an option here, Save as a Collection. That is going to gather all these books together and save them together, and I can visit this collection and research these books that I know are about Jesus Christ. So I select the Save as a Collection option. That opens up the Collections tool. And now let's name it. I think I have another collection on Jesus Christ. So I'm going to say partial collection on Jesus Christ. And so we've named our collection. This one I want to put a space there. And you can see here that I have 16 books in this collection. And they're all listed here and they're down below. Now, if I wanted to expand this collection beyond the 16 books that I have, I can create a rule. And if I put Jesus Christ as an example in the rule, it's going to look for books beyond my initial search. There's 1,615 books. Now, why is there a difference from the 88 or so that I had in the library and these? When you create a rule search everything in your library, not just for the subject, but there might be Jesus Christ might be written in the bibliography. It may be in a footnote. It may be in an end note. Anything that has Jesus Christ in your library has been picked up now in this 1,615 and expanded that collection. So now where do I find this collection? Let's say I close it. I want to go rest and come back the next day, and I want to check out my Jesus Christ collection. From the dashboard, I can find my collections in one of two ways. I can go back to the library and I can check the filter here, and there's collections. And there's books on Jesus Christ, because remember I said I had two, and then I selected or added partial collection of books on Jesus Christ is right there. So you can find them in your library filter, or you can go to the collections tool. From the Go box on the dashboard, you can say Show Collections. And select that. That opens up your collections tool. Now this one's blank, but if we select the drop-down arrow in Open, there is our partial collection on books on Jesus Christ. I select it, and now I'm back to my collection, and I can right click on any of these books and open them. If there's a book that I do not want in my collection, I can hover over, excuse me. Oh, sneeze came upon me. I can hover over this X here and remove any of the books here. And then if I'm in my library, let's go to my library. I'm moving that to the right side. I'm opening up my library. And any books, if I want to remove things from my collection, subject Jesus Christ. And there I have a list of books here on subject Jesus Christ. If I don't want any of these books from my library in this collection, I can take them and drag them from my library and put them on the minus side of my collection and make sure that that book is not in my collection. But now I have 1,614 books in that collection. So that's creating and editing your collections. You can also delete your collection by going up here to the top right-hand corner, panel menu. You can delete it. You can share it with another Logos user. You can print it here from the panel menu. So I'm going to delete it because I already have a collection there. And so what it did was it removed that one and it went to opened up another one here in my drop-down list of collections. Last thing I'm going to show you today before we get to Q&A is reading plans. If you are an avid reader and you want accountability for your reading, you can set up a reading plan in Logos. To do so, from the dashboard, you would go to the documents icon on the navigation menu on the left side. I'm circling it. Select documents, select new with the drop-down arrow. And we're going to go down to reading plan. So from the dashboard, documents, new reading plan. You can create a reading plan for any of the books in your library. Well, some of them are you're not able to generate a custom reading plan, but anything that's here, you can choose a predefined reading plan. You can generate your own where you select which days of the week you want to read, or you can create a custom reading plan. So we're going to generate one where we let Logos put it together for us. Now, it starts out with being a Bible because we are supposed to be reading our Bibles daily, but you can select a different book. This is all passages. This is King James. You can click on the book King James and you can select from this opens up what's in your library. Let's see. So let's say you want to do a reading plan with a devotional. So here's one, Fresh Start Devotionals, and you want to hold yourself accountable for reading that devotional every day. So here it is, read Fresh Start Devotionals in 1 year. There's the book. If you don't want to read it every day, you can choose every weekday, or you can choose different days of the week. But let's say we want to do it every day because we should be having our devotional and time with Jesus every day. Starting today, or you can click and start tomorrow. So I started tomorrow, finish in 1 year, and I'm doing this by myself. If you have a group on faithlife.com, a church group, you can read this with another group by clicking on by yourself, and you can choose your group. If you're logged into faithlife.com, it will show up here and you can select it and share this with perhaps a Bible study group. I'll hit start. And then now I have my assignment for each day to read this devotional. I log in every day. I click on the assignment, read the Fresh Start Devotional. This is the introduction. When you're done, you close it. And you can check this. I read this. Well, I'm supposed to start tomorrow, but you can check it when you're done. And where do you find your reading plans? You can find them, if I close this, you can find it on your dashboard when you open up Logos. So let's scroll down. There's my King James reading plan. And here is my Fresh Start devotional reading plan there. I click on it, open it up, and I can begin reading it for the next day. All right, so that is the extent of what I'm going to show you. It's 35 after. If you have any questions, add them to the Q&A tab. And please, before you go, fill out my 30-second survey letting me know how this session benefited and blessed you. It only takes 30 seconds. Click on the link. It won't take you out of the webinar. It'll just open up another tab. When you're done, put done in the chat. And when I see a preponderance of dones, I will know to start answering questions. And one of the questions asked about your likeliness to tell other customers about the learning team's training session. For context, it has a numerical answer. Answers of 9 or 10 let our leadership know that you're enjoying these sessions and they are blessing you and you would like us to continue them. Anything under 9 is a low score. So answer according to your heart and put done in the chat when you're done so that I know that I can start answering questions. Thank you, Rishan, Dwayne, and Rob for getting those surveys done. It is a blessing to me to hear from you. I read every single survey. If you have any questions, feel free to put them under Q&A. And also, if you can't think of any questions now, feel free to just copy down my email and email me later. And I can see there's a question by Rob. He says, can search queries and or filters be saved? So let's check out your question here. For your search queries, there used to be a setting that had a history in the Bible. But as far as if you're talking about the AI search filters, let's see if I can see a history of them. If I put my cursor here, I am not seeing the availability of a history for questions that you have already asked. It looks like it does not save those. When you say filters, when you're talking about the search syntax filters in the library, I don't believe those are saved either. That's why I gave you the handout, because that helps you remember them. But I don't believe that things are saved to my knowledge. And even when I go to the Bible or books, I am not seeing a history. Let me see. Let me hit this plus. Insert search keyboard. No, insert search keyword. No, I do not think I'm seeing those. Okay, so collections does what you want it to do. You can search collections. And so hopefully it sounds like you found your answer, but you can search collections, but your general questions don't get saved. But let's say here for books, right here under books, and here under your books, I'm going to click that. Down below, here are my collections. And so books on Jesus Christ, if I just wanted to search that particular collection, that helps narrow down your search from searching everything in your library to just that collection. Okay, so glad you got your answer, Rob. Are there any other questions? All right, KP wants me to repeat how to access collections. Of course, there's 2 places, or actually there's 3 places. From the dashboard, you can type in the go box here, show collections. and you'll get it under tools here, and you select show collections, or you can go to the tools menu here, and you can type in this find box here under tools, and under the library category, this will be collections. It'll open up to a blank one. Click the drop down box, and these are my collections here. And the third place, Logos always has multiple options, is in your library under the filter. In your library under the filter, here on the side, there's a collection column. You expand it, and then there are also your collections, and you just simply click on them, and it opens. This one opens up your collections in your library, and it'll just show you all the books in that collection here. So hopefully that helps. Pick the one that you enjoy the most. Jim says, can I create a collection in Passage Analysis, or do I have to create it in the library? Yeah, you will have to create your collection in the library. The Passage Analysis does not allow for collections creation. That's a library tool. Great question, folks. All right. Keep thinking of any. I'm just going to recap what we've covered today. So if you have any more, feel free to add them. And then if you think of anything later, feel free to email me. We covered how to navigate the Logos library, how to sort your library resources, how to search them, how to create and filter a collection of resources of like-minded books that you might want to explore frequently. And I showed you how to create a reading plan to help you with reading accountability from your Logos library. The AI Smart Search is a subscription-based tool or feature. If you are interested in that, feel free to contact the Logos specialist at 888-402-2205. Or if you saw any books in my library, or you want to add books to your library or collections of books to deepen your study, contact the Logos Library Specialist. There are 3 subscription tiers, and they can talk to you about pricing. So not seeing any further questions, then I just want to thank you for joining me. Thank you for spending 40 minutes with me today to learn more about how to use Logos. Logos is such a powerful platform. And with all that power comes the responsibility to learn how to use it. So I'm glad you chose to spend that time with me today. Thank you so much, and I hope to connect with you at a future webinar soon. God bless everyone, and take care.